Hi, my name is Joe Jackson. I'm a journalist, author, interviewer, and broadcaster, and more recently, I've become a podcaster. And one of the podcasts I uploaded in 2020, as one of my first, was a lengthy interview I did in 1997 with Juanico, one of Elvis Presley's first girlfriends, officially speaking. And boy, did we have fun during the interview, as you shall hear. But since uploading the podcast, I've been told that people prefer podcasts that last between 20 and 30 minutes as opposed to 50 or even an hour. So, in deference to the fact that Elvis was one of rock's first great sex symbols, and there aren't that many former lovers of his who speak in depth about their sexual experience with the man, I want to focus on that for this podcast. By the way, you can read some of my Elvis articles on my website, joejacksoninterviewer.com.
But how do you feel, and because your book is a love story and it's innocent, and one part that I have quoted in this that my magazine just didn't believe was and you have to put this in the context of Ireland even in 1997, like you sleeping in Elvis's bed with Gladys hovering outside the door.
She wasn't hovering.
Was
she was
she not?
Sleeping in the room next door.
But she stopped.
The walls
she came
were
in.
thin. She heard us giggling. We were laughing hysterically. You know, when you're just young and in love, and you just laugh and laugh and laugh. And I guess that little signal that it was quiet in there, that maybe it signaled her that something was not right. And she was right. She was not. She was in the next room. So we had quite a bit of quietness before the little. But she did not.
Okay.
She did not open the door until Elvis said, "Come in."
Have you cursed her since then for coming in?
No.
Have you not?
No, because see, that makes me special. I'm the one that got away.
You are, yeah.
Only because of Elvis's mother.
It's for you. It's God calling. But did you not? I mean, when you were older and you looked at him, we'd say, and most women I know, and even I've talked to someone like Gordon Stoker, who said that like 68, 69 back in Vegas, he was, and Dory Previn, who's a friend of mine, said the man was so sexually attractive and dynamic at that particular stage too. Did you not look at him again and say, well, God damn it?
Oh yeah, in '69 when I went out there to sing.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
What?
I felt like I was going to stick to the chair.
Well, yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard about
That was
69.
in '69.
Yeah.
And he was the most gorgeous thing.
He was, yeah.
And his sideburns were a little too thick and too long,
Okay.
and his hair was dyed jet black.
Yeah.
But that did not distract from this gorgeous, tall, thin creature up there.
Right. He was also, see, we're very unfortunate, those of us who never saw it, because the movies we see, like That's the Way It Is, were a year later.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody filmed the absolute, like the 7 minutes Suspicious Mind karate workout.
Mm-hmm.
That apparently was, alongside 68, if we're to believe, one of the highlights of him, musically, artistically, looks-wise, as a man.
Mm-hmm.
He was at a peak there, wasn't he?
Oh, he was.
You don't stick to the chair now. You still don't even think back then. No, but that's all right. That's a serious. What you say there is, I'm the one who got away. I mean, would you have realised, because if Priscilla's book, this book by Suzanne Finstad, is to be believed, and the other book that came out last year, Revelations from the Memphis Mafia, have you seen that one, the big thick volume?
It disturbs me to read trash about Elvis. It really does.
Well,
it really does. So I don't care to.
But they would refer to you. And would you not even check that out? They would refer to the relationships. Yeah, I think it's in, or maybe it's Esposito's, the relationships. You see, there's so many of them have come out in the past 6 months. But you are the one who got away, and according to them, he was licentious and irresponsible. And there's another book I read called The Inner Elvis by a psychologist in America. It's actually not trash at all. Mm-hmm. But it goes into the whole thing of, now, sensationalism is the suggestion that he had a sexual affair with his mother, which you have read in America.
Yes.
Haven't you read that?
Yes. I've heard it and read it and everything. What's
he
didn't have any relationship.
Right.
He had a relationship with his mother, but it was one of a loving son, devoted mother. It was a close-knit Southern family. I had a relationship with my mother. I slept in the bed with my mother because my brother and I shared a bedroom. And when my mother divorced, I slept in the bed with my mother. That does not make it an abnormal relationship. And I think that was made up. I don't think Elvis would have been in bed with his mother at age 15.
Yeah,
I don't believe it.
Nor do I. But apparently Dee Presley is supposed to have sold it to the Inquirer. This is where the whole thing started.
Well, Dee Presley, take it for what it's worth.
No, I know. But this has found its way, you see, but it's found its way into, and you as the lover who got away, like now you have the people saying, well, he couldn't sleep with mothers. What was his problem? Why would he not sleep with Priscilla after she became a mother? Did he have a big, huge hang-up there? And would you have evidenced any of that kind of sexual hang-up or reticence on his behalf then?
No, not during my time.
No?
I mean, God only knows. Look how long I waited for this book to be published. If I'd have known anything or thought anything weird, maybe I would have said, Elvis, excuse me, but I'm going to tell him a little deeper secret. You know, and chances are that'll help me get my book published, because I did want to get the book published.
Sure.
But there, no, nothing like that ever happened.
So he was a healthy young man and you were a healthy young woman?
As far as I'm concerned, he was.
Okay.
He was perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah, and to me, he respected women. Well, I know he respected me.
He respected you, though. You see, but these other claims of like 3 and 4 groupies, and even DJ Fontana describing the Cadillac in '56, and maybe before he went back to Memphis. And there seems to be this divide in him. And now I'm speaking to someone who loves Elvis, and he's been a huge factor in my life. So I'm not trying to belittle him, but I am trying to understand the schism between like the bad girls in Vegas, would say at the same time, if it was Tempest Storm or whoever else, and the showgirls, and them coming home to you, and you were the good girl, and it was Mama, she's going to remain a virgin until we're married. That was like one view of woman, and then.
Well, see, that's all I know about is my view.
But you were hurt when you brought over when you saw these photographs.
The only time I was really hurt was on the Christmas when she was sitting there with him, and that was his second. I could have overlooked that first one.
All right.
But the second one being on Christmas Day, I couldn't excuse that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, how did you reconcile the sensitivity of a young man you do depict as incredibly sensitive, as that kind of insensitivity? Did that hurt?
Well,
could you?
No. I mean, I thought, in my head, I said, you can go to hell. You never existed in my life. How could you do something like this? But then when I look back at the situation, Colonel Parker had it in for me.
Sure.
So chances are it was his suggestion to bring these showgirls as a house guest, and because it did not deserve a front page newspaper stand front page were both of these girls' pictures. You didn't have to buy the newspaper and open it, because I never bought a paper. But I mean, a drugstore is right by my house. Okay. Colonel Parker sent this message down to me by the Commercial Appeal.
Right. On
the front page. And when the first one was okay. I picked up the paper and read about it. The second one was taken on Christmas Day.
Right.
And it was like 2 days after Christmas that was standing in the face.
Right.
And if Colonel Parker didn't think that I was going to see it, he knew that enough of my friends would see it and make sure that I got to see it. So Colonel Parker had a hand in our breakup. But then again, I can't give him the total credit for breakups, because Elvis could have said, I'm going to have June with me for Christmas if I'm going to have anyone.
That's true.
I'll throw some girls in between, but I'm going to have June with me. And then, and explain to her, because he told me, don't believe anything you read, only half of what you see. And when you see me linked with another female, it's for publicity purposes only.
Right.
So that's all well and fine. But how much publicity purposes am I going to swallow?
Sure.
Yeah.
But do you believe that was the case, or because he said the same thing to Priscilla when he was with Anne Margaret in Hollywood?
That he wasn't?
Yeah, he was saying kind of, this is just to drum up publicity for a movie. And apparently, according to anything I've read, from the most legitimate bios right through to trash, Elvis was trying to make it with every co-star he was with. And not just the co-stars, but the wardrobe girl and other. And not just make it, I don't mean it, because, and I'm glad you pointed out in the book, he was not just a horny rooster who only wanted to, excuse the language, fuck a woman. He was a romantic. Now, he had the sexual desire, but he also had...
I think after this, I think because of Colonel Parker shoving all these women at him, I think his goal was to conquer as many as possible. Who knows?
Yeah.
But he didn't have to worry about me anymore.
All right. Okay, but it did hurt you, didn't it?
Oh, yes it did. It doesn't hurt me anymore.
Does it not?
No.
Did it cast a shadow over your marriage?
Just the heartbreak of having loved and lost Elvis made a shadow but not a strong shadow.
Did it not?
No.
Like you weren't
because
trying to...
because I would not listen to the radio.
Okay.
I didn't watch his movies. It was not
Freeze
a word
up.
in my house. It was get on with my life and appreciate my husband for the good man that he was.
All right.
And raise my children and be the perfect mother. And my children today will tell you that I was the perfect mother.
So no, I just wondered if you're trying to replace Elvis or shape somebody else in his image or any of that stuff.
No. You couldn't replace Elvis.
You were also, but you were
With
also
anyone.
Yeah, but you were also at that age where you were incredibly impressionable. Maybe there are women who met him later in life and said, I can easily replace him. You know what I mean? The man who, especially the last couple of years
I'll
of his
always
life.
remember him as my first true
Your
love.
first love.
And I'll always have a spot in my heart for the man, even today.
Sure.
So.
But you got the best of him, didn't you? You really did get the best of him.
I think so. I mean, when I when I talk about Elvis, I have to say my Elvis, because he is so different. My Elvis is so different than the Elvis Presley everyone talks about today.
You mean the image we have of the end, the drugs, the white suits, the Vegas?
Not even just the end, the beginning. I mean, the middle and the end.
All
and
right.
in the beginning, he was mine and he was perfect and he was wonderful. And that's my memory.
Hi, Joe Jackson here again. I thank you for listening to this edition of the Joe Jackson Interviews podcast. And don't forget, if you want to read some of my articles about the King, check out my website, joejacksoninterviewer.com.